In this video, I'll be uncovering the most underrated skill for anyone learning to code. This is the skill that when you learn it makes coding easier, makes meaningful progress inevitable, and eventually will help you land a job and make good money as a software developer. What is this skill? It's your ability to learn. I use the techniques that I'm about to uncover to work as a professional musician, to work as a freelance web designer and logo designer, and to work as a professional software developer. As someone who's just getting into coding, it's worth investing time and effort now to understand the following 6 steps of learning to learn. Okay, let's dive in. Step 1 is to find a role model. Mentors are hard to come by. Mentors typically participate out of the goodness of their heart, and mentees get the good end of the stick. This model doesn't really scale. There are way more people interested in having a mentor than there are willing mentors. This is something that Seth Godin talks about in one of his blog posts about mentors versus role models. Role models are different from mentors. Role models are anyone who you look up to and would like to be like. You are free to choose your role model. You do not need anyone's permission. Today, inspiring people post publicly about how they live their best lives. It's a shame not to closely follow someone you admire and learn about how they got to where they are. What this unblocks is a roadmap for you. The path to learning any skill is a long and windy road, filled with potholes and inefficient detours. To some degree, traveling this path is necessary. There aren't many shortcuts to learning. You'll need to try things and learn from your mistakes. But one shortcut you can take is to use someone else's path as inspiration for your own. You still need to develop the skill of navigating your own path and learning to make good decisions along the way. But you can gather signposts along the way that help orient you in the right direction. A role model's path can sometimes even be purchased through courses and memberships. This is an effective way to get to where you want to go faster. Find a role model. Step 2 is to make time. There's no getting around this, but you're gonna need time to learn skills. The problem when we hear the phrase, you're gonna need time, is that we go straight to pondering the entire journey. It's gonna take 2 years to become job ready. It's gonna take 6 months to become competent. It's gonna take 5 years to become good enough to work in big tech. Don't make this mistake of trying to predict your entire journey. What you wanna focus on is making the time now. This means setting a time in your calendar on a daily basis or several times a week to learn new skills. However, this is easier said than done. You might already be working a full-time job. You might be a full-time student that's studying coding on the side. You might have kids that makes using your nights and weekends for studying very difficult. Whatever your situation is, you probably have a pretty full life. If you're having trouble finding time in your calendar, first focus on finding things you can drop or move around in your calendar. It'll come from things like the 15 to 30 minutes of downtime between meetings and errands. It'll come from things like any recurring meetings you can schedule and batch with other meetings. Or it might be like not watching TV before bed and going to bed earlier so you can wake up earlier to create an extra hour for yourself. Everyone has 24 hours in a day. Make time for the things you claim are important to you. Step 3 is to stay focused. Focus is not about willpower. It's about decision making. The real trick to making meaningful progress in anything is to set it as a priority. And making something a priority is a matter of deciding. Learning to code might not be your topmost priority in the grand scheme of things, but having one top priority when it comes to learning a new skill is a true life hack. Don't try to learn multiple skills. Don't share your leftover free time with competing priorities like establishing a new gym workout routine, or picking up a daily writing practice, or start creating YouTube videos, or learning to code. Don't start new things at the same time. Just pick one. The others will be waiting for you to tackle when you're ready. That's okay. For example, right now, my YouTube channel is my top priority in how I'm using my leftover time. I'm learning everything about playing the YouTube game, using resources to create videos, and dedicating time to deploy effort into this. And this singular focus is what allows me to work as a software developer, live a balanced life with a spouse and 2 kids, and also learn new skills needed to do this YouTube thing. I've never done well trying to learn multiple skills at once. I found focus to be the jet fuel that allows me to accelerate. Step 4 is deliberate practice. Always set a purpose for your practice. What does this actually look like? A musician focusing on repeating a specific phrase until it becomes muscle memory. A programmer focusing on building multiple apps intentionally using the same technology. A calligrapher that draws the same letter over and over to get better at drawing that one letter. You'll quickly get better in areas of deficiency. Moreover, having clear goals and outcomes for your practice sessions makes them more motivating and easier to start. 2 birds, 1 stone. Stay deliberate. Step 5 is to build in a feedback loop. We need feedback in order to improve. Do whatever you can to put in a structure so you consistently receive feedback. There's a lot of people that get into coding as self-taught programmers. This is resourceful and appropriate for a lot of people. But one of my concerns with this approach is that you're left to your own to figure out a way to get feedback and course correct. Have you heard of tutorial hell? It's the phenomenon of jumping from tutorial to tutorial, not knowing how you're progressing and not really knowing the purpose of each tutorial. The reason why this happens is because there's a lack of feedback. You don't know whether what you're coding makes any sense. You don't know whether this project makes sense to tackle next over another. You don't have a clear roadmap for topics to cover. Learning is much easier if you purchase access to mentors via something like a bootcamp or a paid community. I always prefer building a feedback mechanism into new ventures because that's how you get better quickly. Insight from someone that's ahead of you will keep you on track. Step 6 is to check in on your progress. Finally, make it a habit to appreciate how far you've come along the journey. If you're learning something new on your own, it's so easy to get lost and not recognize your own progress. The problem with this is that it will drain your motivation. We need regular doses of recognition to feel like we're making good progress. Bake this in by reviewing your own work every so often. I personally like this setup. I record 3 things that I do every single day that I consider wins. I spend time every week reviewing my wins for the week, and I spend time every 30 days or so reviewing my wins for the month. This helps me ground my attention onto what I've accomplished relative to my past self. Without this practice, I would have a tendency to compare myself against an ideal future, which leaves me feeling unfulfilled. Treat yourself with respect and dignity. Recognize your own progress. Okay, so that's it. I guarantee that these 6 techniques for learning will help you learn faster than if you didn't use them. I hope you take this to heart and apply it to whatever journey you're currently on. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos on coding and software development. I also have a newsletter dedicated for people who are interested in transitioning careers into software development. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. Okay, see you in the next video. Bye-bye.